Hi there. I am Sheriff Adrian Garcia, and welcome to our Google chat. Thank you for joining us, and this is exciting in that we are in a day and time that we can talk to so many people around the community by virtue of looking at a laptop and speaking over the cyber world, if you will. But to my right is Major Steve Marino. He is the commander that's in charge of our patrol operations that covers the unincorporated area of Harris County. So we're very grateful for his work. But I also have a room full of people that are joining me, what I call servant leaders, phenomenal public servants that will help answer the questions that some of you have already sent in, as well as some of the questions that may come up. But to that end, let me just give you a quick overview of the Harris County Sheriff's Office. We are the largest sheriff's office in the state of Texas and the third largest in the country. We have over 4,000 employees that help us keep Harris County safe every single day. We are a full service operation. Some sheriff's offices vary in their form of operation from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, but typically speaking, a sheriff's office is a correctional institution. It's responsible for the county jail in the respective county that it presides in. But in Harris County, because Harris County is 1,700 square miles, we have over 4 million people that call Harris County home, and not all the area is incorporated. We have approximately 30 some odd cities that are incorporated within the Harris County boundaries. But the portion of the county that is left unincorporated, there's no city, there's no municipality there, it is the responsibility of the sheriff's office and commissioner's court to deliver services to those respective constituents. That area for Harris County has approximately 1.7 million people that live in that area and depend on the Harris County Sheriff's Office every day to keep them safe. In that area, we provide all services. We have patrol operations, we have motorcycle operations, we have deputies that help take care of the parks in some of those areas. We have deputies that work on storefronts. We have deputies that work in undercover capacity to help us interdict drug operations, vice operations, human trafficking operations. We have investigators that are dedicated to the detailed work of what we call criminal investigations, whether it be robberies, sexual assaults, looking for fugitives, and other more sensitive criminal investigations. Homicides is one. But we also have today, I'm so proud of the fact that when I started as your sheriff back in 2009, our deputies had to work hard every single day to cover this vast territory. That, as I mentioned, 1.7 million people, whereas the number of residents that live inside the city of Houston, as an example and as a comparison, it's 2.2 million. So only a difference of about 500,000 people between the city of Houston constituents and the constituents live in the unincorporated areas of Harris County. So literally, I am helping to protect the city of Houston's very, very near twin brother, if you will. And so, but to that end, I'm very excited of the fact that today our deputies, our patrol deputies, and the citizens now have dedicated aerial patrol. We now have a helicopter that has been missing from our operations for a number of years. Our deputies, our patrolmen out on the streets had to work hard every single day to cover this territory by patrol vehicles alone. And every once in a while we would get help from the city of Houston. Every once in a while we may get help from the Department of Public Safety. And in the very recent years in time, we were getting support from the Tomball Police Department. We're very grateful to Chief Hawk and his folks out there. But at the end of the day, our deputies needed to be able to count on aerial support. We now have that. And so we have pilots. And we have pilots that not only handle our helicopter operations, but we have had for the last few years a fixed-wing aircraft. And we have a high-risk operations unit, which is another term for a SWAT team. We have, as I mentioned, deputies that are working extremely hard in an undercover capacity. So we are a full-service operation, not to forget the dedicated public servants that work within our correctional system. We have deputies and detention officers that, as our patrolmen go out and catch the bad guys, we have detention personnel that work hard every single day to keep those bad guys within our jailhouse until the judicial system says it's okay for them to leave. And so we have an incredible number of detention personnel that are dedicated, and I'm so very proud to have them representing the Harris County Sheriff's Office. And lastly, we also have deputies that are part of those who help provide safety and security within our court system. Every day, our deputies work alongside our elected officials, our judges, both in civil and in the criminal courthouse, to help make sure that those operations stay safe and secure every single day. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the Harris County Sheriff's Office. We're over 4,000 employees. We have an operating budget of over $400 million. And so we work hard not only to be a good steward of your money, but we also work to be a good steward of your safety. And to that end, this chat, I am hopeful, will allow us to continue to work well with one another, get your ideas and your input, and then share with you some of the things that we're doing. And that's why I've had these folks here with me today. To that end, a couple of questions that have come in. One was, what are we doing to curb the rise of violence in the Cypress area? What's our plan to reverse this trend? First of all, we know that as recently there's been a lot of discussion of a very tragic event that's occurred, and our prayers and our condolences go out to that family and those children. It's never a good day for me when I hear young people being the victims of violent crimes, and so I'm very bothered by that. But here is part of our plan. I want to work hard every day with my patrolman, Major Marino, and his staff to make sure that our patrol officers are in the community as often as possible when you don't meet them. I want to make sure that the public sees the visibility of our men and women out there in the community, building relationships with the good law-abiding citizens, so that we can have confidence in one another, so that you can report what's occurring that may be suspicious to you, and we can help investigate. And so one area of priority is that we put a lot of emphasis on our patrol deputies. Secondly, Major Marino and his staff have been extremely diligent at going after those individuals who have already proven that they have a propensity to criminal behavior and violent behavior, doing what we call warrant roundups. And so let me just make a non-paid commercial here. If you got a warrant, turn yourself in. You'll help us, and you'll take the pressure off of your back by knowing that we're looking for you. And so you just assume, turn yourself in, because in all likelihood you've got handcuffs on and you don't even know it. But in that regard, we're looking for people executing those warrants for fugitives in our community. And that is one of the best ways that we can work to take people off the street that have already worn out their welcome. Secondly, we have a mobile phone app. It's on your cell phone, or it can be on your cell phone for free. I call it I Watch Harris County. And as I tell folks, I watch Harris County, and so should you. And so you can help me by downloading your very, very free mobile phone app. As people say, you want to help us fight crime? Well, there's an app for that. And you can download your free mobile phone app and help us text by texting in anonymous, or if you choose to give us your name, you can. But you can send us in anonymous tips about any suspicious activity that may be occurring out in the community, and our investigators review this. In fact, Sergeant Franks is one of the folks that's here, and he'll talk about the iWatch app in a minute. But this is, so dealing with Crime and the trend of violence is a multifaceted approach for the Harris County Sheriff's Office. We need communication. We need to know that the public has venues and opportunities to get information to us. Secondly, we do count and put a lot of pressure on our patrolmen and patrolwomen to get out there and provide visibility and respond to things that are occurring as quickly as they can. Secondly, it's by taking people off the street, or thirdly, by taking people off the street that shouldn't be out there to begin with. They've already violated the law, and we want them in our custody as quickly as possible. And so, but there are other things that can happen. We do spend a lot of time educating the public about their own personal safety. The best way to keep the community safe is by us helping you help us. And so when you're out there in the community, you're shopping, we ask you to be careful and aware about your surroundings. Don't carry a purse if you don't need to. Don't leave things in your car in plain sight. That can be avoided. Park in well-lit areas. Be cognizant of your personal safety as well as that of your home. Making sure you've got good lighting and that there's good visibility, alarm system if you so choose, good locks and things of that nature. All those things work well together to help us help you and help keep the community safe. And so to that end, let me also say that one of the best ways to address violence in our community, and let me just tell you that as we speak to this tragic situation that occurred, I want folks out there to have a particular appreciation for our investigators, especially our investigators within the homicide division. Those folks probably have one of the toughest jobs in this organization. They have to work with surviving friends and family of victims of the most serious type of violence that can occur. Their job is tough, and I don't envy them, but I respect them and admire them so very much. But the best thing that we can do to keep violence from occurring is by making sure that our investigators work diligently and make sure that they're working to bring closure to those cases that are out there, working to identify who the people are that are responsible for those tragedies, and hold them accountable and bring them into our custody and let the rest of the criminal justice system work. And so we put a lot of pressure on our investigators, regardless of what role they may be, whether homicide or robbery or sex crimes. We want our investigators working extremely diligently to bring closure to those cases that have occurred, so that we can bring those people into our custody and get them off the street and keep them from having another opportunity at hurting someone else. And so our investigators, our crime scene investigators, they are all phenomenal people, and they have a tough job. And so this is another element to our strategy and our plan to contend with any violence that may be occurring in our neighborhoods. And so lastly, before we go on with the rest of the agenda, another commercial. We are hiring. You want a career in public safety? You want to help us keep the Harris County community safe? Then please go to HCSO, as in Harris County Sheriff's Office, HCSOjobs.com. If you have service in your heart, you want to lead a career with integrity and credibility and responsibility, you can do all those things right here at the Harris County Sheriff's Office. Help us help you help the rest of the community by starting a career in public safety. We need people from all walks of life with all skill sets, and we have a position waiting for you. So that's another way that you can help us keep the community safe. So let's go on with the rest of the program. Oh, one other question was, I'd like to know if the Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Garcia, can get the tracking devices for safety that is now covered for our two sons with autism. I believe what the question here is alluding to is some of these bracelets or other type of devices that may be out there with GPS, that if someone leaves their home environment and people will know where they're at. I think that's what this question is about. Let me just say that this is something we're working I am so respectful of and a big supporter of technology and new applications. We have a new command that does nothing but focus on how to tie in all of our various technology systems and making sure that they are the best possible available to our patrol deputies and our investigators and the rest of the operation. And so this caller is, or this question is speaking to something that I have been very focused on as it relates especially to loved ones in our community that may be suffering from Alzheimer's or dementia, people who may walk away from their home environment, not realize it, and then put themselves in harm's way, and then no one knows where they may be at. We have been studying this issue, and we're looking for something that is practical, cost-effective, and that will allow us to effectively leverage it across this vast territory that is Harris County. So we continue to work on this, but I just want that person to know that you bring up a good point. We are looking at that, and I hope that in the very near future we will have an announcement for you. And so now, ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you and introduce to others Major Steve Marino. Has had a long career in law enforcement, and I am so grateful for his service here at the highest ranks of the Harris County Sheriff's Office. He had hair before he joined me, and but because he has one of the key responsibilities of the operation of the Harris County Sheriff's Office, that is our patrol operations. The poor guy works so hard that he lost his hair. But I'm very grateful for him, and in all seriousness, he thinks it makes him look more distinguished. I don't know, you be the judge of that. But ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you Major Steve Marino.
Thank you, Sheriff. I thought I needed to put some makeup on the top of my head just to keep it from being so shiny. So, anyhow, good afternoon. I am the commander of our 700 plus patrol deputies that serve you in Harris County. I'm going to speak about a couple of issues. One, our philosophy when it comes to policing here at the Sheriff's Department, and two, the crime rate, which I know a lot of people are interested in. In 2013, the overall crime rate in Harris County was down compared to 2012. We saw crimes in all categories down, except for a slight increase in robberies. But towards the end of the quarter, those robberies were going down due to various initiatives that our patrol deputies took on to make some arrests of these individuals. That being said, I think it's safe to say that the perception of crime in Harris County is up, and that's due in large part to the high-profile incidents that are carried on the evening news every minute. But the fact of the matter is that violent crime is down in Harris County. It has been down for the last several years. The drop in this crime can be attributed directly to, in large part, our crime analysis units, our details that are working with our patrol deputies and our crime control detail to target hot spots in Harris County where we have a high crime rate, to target our gangs and put these individuals in jail. The sheriff had mentioned briefly warrant roundups. These are some of the things that we make sure that we're putting people that have a propensity for committing crimes in jail. These are the people that are committing these violent crimes. So that's one of the ways that we're keeping the community safe. Our philosophy at the Patrol Bureau is to concentrate on serial crimes, burglaries, burglary of motor vehicles, auto thefts, robberies, narcotics activities. What we found is that we concentrate on these serial type of criminals that commit these type of crimes. These are the ones that are committing the violent crimes also, and we've seen a dramatic drop in our violent crime as a result. As mentioned earlier, our CCD unit, which is our crime control detail, our hotspot unit, where we send out these especially trained deputies to areas where we have some high crime rates, and we pinpoint these crimes, and we pinpoint these gangs that are committing these crimes, and put these people in jail. And that's just another way that we're trying to keep the community safe.
All right.
That's it, Sheriff.
Well, what do you think? Should we give him an opportunity to let him grow his hair back? But anyway, he's doing a fine job, and we're very proud of him. Thank you, Major.
Thanks, Sheriff.
At this time, I want to introduce to you one of the guys that helps Major Marino have a smile on his face. And this guy is Deputy Jericho Tyler. Now, if he looks familiar, he ought to be at least over 6,000 people that are in Harris County, because this phenomenal kid, I call him a kid because he is a kid, but this great guy, he's out there, he's one of our patrolmen, and he goes out and responds to a call. And after getting some information, his good police instinct and his training allowed him to dig a little deeper. I'll let him tell you a little bit about the story, but nonetheless, he took a sexual predator off the streets of Harris County because he just didn't stop at just doing a job, but rather he took his responsibility seriously. He followed his instinct and conducted a very, very good investigation that took a dangerous predator off the streets of Harris County. And so I mentioned that over 6,000 people. The reason being because we put them on our Facebook. This guy went viral. And so if you ever want to give us some more likes on his good work, we'll take them. So to that end, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you to Jericho Tyler. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Tell the people about what's it like to be a patrolman on the streets of Harris County.
Being a patrolman is great. I love being a patrolman, especially with community policing. At nighttime, I work nights in the Alief area, so at night, not a lot of people outside, but I do get to meet some people, and everybody that's outside at night in Mission Bend, I'm going to meet them. I speak with the public. That's what I love to do. So it's helped me out quite a bit, especially one story. Like 2 years ago, I met this kid. He was walking down the street, and, I knew he wasn't supposed to be out there. He was a juvenile. I took him home, spoke to his parents, and explained to them, the importance of them keeping kids in the home, and I got a chance to meet the other brothers and sisters I was hitting. Well, 3 months go by, and we had a bad case. It was a capital murder case. Well, the victim's daughter explained to me how this person looked, and just by the description of the suspect, I just knew that it was this kid. So I went by that house, I sat by that house, and I saw a vehicle that matched the description of the vehicle that was used in that capital murder, and came back stolen. I pulled them over, put them in my back seat, and they confessed on video that they did this murder. So they've been convicted already. They each got 50 years. That led to the other 3 suspects arrested, and also with the sexual assault. Well, the night I received that call, we get those calls all the time. Sometimes boyfriend sneaks in the girlfriend's house, and the parents catch me. So we get to those calls, and most of the time they're juveniles, consenting juveniles. So we just identify them. I might take them to their parents and tell their parents on it. Well, in this case, I've been taking detecting deception classes, training. So I have a lot of training in detecting deception. But this person, he told the parents that he was 17. He told the juvenile female that he was sleeping with that he was 16. And just through the detective deception training that I previously taken, real soon afterwards, I was able to identify him and found out that he was actually a 27-year-old man, and he robbed, not robbed, but sexually assaulted females at gunpoint months before. So he has several sexual assaults. And by the community policing, which the neighbor across the street, he observed this male climbing through that window, 4 days prior each night, and he was able to help me identify the suspect's vehicle, and it led to more charges of sexual assault as a child. So I just love community policing. It's the best thing.
Wonderful. Well, folks, Jericho Tyler is one of the guys you can count on. Just one of the guys you can count on to keep Harris County safe, and so we're so proud of his work. He's already received a number of commendations for his good police work out there, and so I got my eye on him, and so we're very proud of him. Thank you so much, Deputy. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. All right, next we have Lieutenant Max Turner. Well, let's go ahead and just say it. We just talked about this earlier. This is Captain Turner, just recently promoted. We're very proud of his accomplishment, his achievements, and his willingness to do a little bit more around here. So we're very proud. So although you may see one bar here, really another one should go right next to it. And so he's already wearing his captain's badge, I believe. And I just got some printed in on it. So very excited about that. Max Turner is going to help us answer some questions about patrols and all of the various things that goes out there because in fact Major Marino lost a little bit more hair when we said we're now that he's been promoted to captain, he's going to have some new responsibilities and so Major Marino was losing some hair over losing now Captain Turner. But it's just one of the nice things when you know you got so much talent within the ranks of the Harris County Sheriff's Office, and Max is one of those guys. So Max, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good. Why don't you talk to the folks about all the good work that goes out on patrol?
All right, thank you. For about the last 9 years, I've been a supervisor on patrol. The last 3.5 on the west side. And one of the things that was addressed earlier by Sheriff Garcia and Major Marino was talking about violent crimes. We do a lot in the Sheriff's Office to try to prevent crimes from occurring and also to follow up and catch people to keep them from committing future crimes. But a lot of times in your neighborhood, it may not be a violent crime that's a big issue. There's a lot of issues that come up, whether it's kids that are out in a school zone waiting for the bus, or at a bus stop waiting for the bus, or the enforcement of traffic in school zones and things like that. The patrol deputies take care of every aspect there is out there to promote officer safety for themselves, but also public safety. Some of the questions that we received had to do with neighborhood type issues. One of them had to do with speeders on Stockton Falls around Fry Road. And one of the things that the person that submitted the question said is that they'll call the sheriff's office and somebody will drive by, but usually it's after the speeders are gone. If you know you have a continual problem, you can contact your local substation for the sheriff's office. We have 5 substations and also several storefronts around the county. And talk to a supervisor or somebody and let them know what the situation is. You can also go on the Harris County Sheriff's Office website and let them know this is a recurring problem. Sheriff mentioned the iWatch app earlier, iWatch Harris County. There are so many different ways that we receive information on patrol from the public, and every one of them is followed up on, whether it's through contacting through the website, through the iWatch program, contacting somebody at a substation, calling our dispatch. Every one of them we follow up on. And I have officers and supervisors assigned to make sure that all those things are addressed. In this particular instance, I would, probably suggest that somebody contact the local office and say, this is a recurring problem. One of the issues is, because we're fighting the violent crimes and things like that, we may not be aware of the speeding issue in your neighborhood. And so you have to make us aware so that we can take care of it. Another issue had to do with parking, illegal parking, and blocking fire hydrants. It could be an issue with aggressive animals, that animals keep getting out of fences and running around. We received all those type of questions. And we just recently had an issue with some pit bulls that got loose. We had a deputy that actually did a lot of follow-up, worked with animal control, and tracked down the owners, and they were issued citations, and now they have to answer for their animals being loose on the street. So there's a lot of things that we do. There's a lot of ways to contact us, and all of the things we look at very seriously, because every one of these is an issue for one of our citizens, and so we want to do the best that we can. The main thing is to make sure we're aware. A lot of times I hear things such as, well, I never see an officer in my neighborhood, and sometimes we're trying to do the higher priority calls, and we may not be aware of the issue that you have specifically in your area. So I would just suggest that you contact, the sheriff's office, Sheriff Garcia, through the various different methods that we have, and you'll get a response on that. We have a lot of great guys and gals that work out there. Deputy Tyler is one that works in my area on the west side. Does a fantastic job, and all his coworkers do a good job. So if you'll just let us know what's going on out there, we can address the issue.
Wonderful. Captain, thank you so much. And before you leave, let me do something. I try to be up with all this stuff, so I'm gonna do a chat here or there you go. I'm gonna tweet you guys in YouTube. Captain, thank you so much.
Sure.
Next we have Lieutenant, Detention Lieutenant Lynette Anderson. This incredible lady, get you scoot over a little closer. This incredible lady is part of the phenomenal professional folks that we have that do the tough job of keeping those people who have worn out their welcome by not playing by the rules out in the community. They've been arrested. They've been brought to the county jail. And so Detention Lieutenant Anderson and her staff have the tough work of making sure that that those folks are within our custody, don't leave until we allow them to leave. And but they are also responsible for a host of federal, state obligations that we have to abide by for the care, custody, and control of the inmates in our facilities. To that end, let me also make one more mention. I said Lieutenant Anderson. Lieutenant Anderson started as a detention officer. She then became a detention sergeant. And most recently, this year, she was promoted to detention lieutenant. And I say that because you just saw Deputy Tyler and Captain Turner. These are incredible people that, on top of all the responsibilities and authorities that they carry guns. And so we want them out on the street, helping to keep the people safe. There was a time in Harris County where a lot of deputies worked within our correctional system. And I was grateful for that service, but I thought it was most important to get them out to the street as quickly as possible and help us fight the violence and other forms of crime that are occurring. And then with our new career path, our new professionals that are now part of our infrastructure here, our detention officer rank, we depend on them to keep a hold of those folks in our custody and administer all the work that they have to do. But all that to say that, Lieutenant Anderson and her co-workers, and their job is tough. I mean, I keep saying that everybody's got a tough job. She's got one of the toughest because they report to a jailhouse. They're locked in with these inmates on a day-to-day basis. And I always make mention, Jericho, with what he did, the worldwide public got to see what he did and gave him bukus of kudos and sweet, commendations and acknowledgement and all that. As you may suspect, the citizens that get to see the good work of our detention officers aren't necessarily people who want to write and tell about it. These are our inmates. And so I work hard as often as I can, and I wanted Lieutenant Anderson and her operations and her co-workers to be a part of this conversation. Because I want you, the public, to know that you have phenomenal public servants that work within the correctional system that don't get the opportunity to save a cat out of a tree or save a child out of a burning house or fix somebody's flat. But rather, they're doing a phenomenal job making sure that the inmates that are in our custody are kept in our custody until the courts say that they can leave, and then doing all of the other very intricate work that's required of them to facilitate the care, custody, control of those inmates. It's an important job, and you spend a great deal of money on it, so we need to make sure it's done well, and it's done well every day. And those people that we depend on are Lieutenant Anderson's staff, her, and many others. But I want them to be acknowledged by the general public because their job is tough. But it is an extremely rewarding career because you in Harris County can take pleasure knowing that when Jericho goes out and puts the handcuffs on somebody, they ain't leaving until they're allowed to leave by law. And that's because Lieutenant Anderson and others do a phenomenal job. So, Lieutenant, thank you for joining us. Why don't you tell the folks about what you do on a day-to-day basis?
Well, now I supervise over 150 deputy detention officers and supervisors. And we monitor the inmates. We would take care of court, make sure they get to court in a timely manner. We make sure that they have their meals on time. We have rules. They still have to clean up, and before they get the TV, they get their mail and all of that. We also provide rehabilitation programs that are starting up, and we have Mike Barber Ministries. They brought in a lot of volunteers. We also have a partnership with HCC, Houston Community College, where we offer GED programs for the inmates who are on low to medium sentences. And through this, we graduated over 1,000 offenders into society who go on to become, with their associates. We've had some that make the D list, and some that have graduated with a 4-year degree.
The whole idea behind that is we want people to go back much better than how we got them.
Exactly. I have a true story that happened to me around Christmas time. I was in Walmart by myself, plain clothes, and I had someone come up to me, and the minute you hear boss lady, you know where they know you from. And he walked over to me, and I said, "Oh, how are you doing?" He says, "I'm doing great." He says, he introduced me to his wife, his children, all of that. And he said that he'd gotten his GED while in Harris County. And he had a good job, and he was able to buy toys and everything his kids needed with legal money. Because we provided a service to him that he was able to get his GED.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, folks, as I tell you, and as I just interjected, the county jail is a place where people need to come and learn the lesson and realize that there's rules that we all have to abide by. That's what's required of it. That's our obligation to a great society that we live within. But when they come to our facility, we want them to learn their lessons, but at the same time, we want people never to have to come back. And so we do all we can, whether through education, through training, through some form of ministerial work, to try to put people on a better pathway than how they got here. And I think that at the end of the day helps us all. And so I am very proud of Lieutenant Anderson and her staff. And I want you, the general public, to recognize the fact that just because her uniform looks a little different from mine, we both wear the same patch. We're both obligated to you. And her staff and Lieutenant Anderson do a very, very important job within the Harris County jail system. When I became sheriff, I'll tell you that I'm so proud of the fact that we have never failed a jail inspection. We have always been accredited, and we continue to maintain those operations at an appropriate standard level that allows the state to support us and have confidence in all the good work that we do. So I don't do it alone. I need a lot of detention staff to help us get there, and Lieutenant Anderson and her colleagues are those. So whenever you see some of our detention officers out there, thank them because they do a very, very tough and very important job. Lieutenant, thank you so much.
Thank you
for being here. All righty. Next, we have Sergeant Larry Franks. And this guy here is responsible for our iWatch Harris County mobile phone app. This is the sergeant that checks all those tips on a daily basis and makes sure that they get in the right hands so that they can be followed up and investigated. And he'll tell you about the success that we're having behind this app. It's been phenomenal, and we want everyone in Harris County to download their free, very free mobile phone app. I watch Harris County. He watches Harris County, and so should you. Download your free mobile phone app. I watch Harris County. Sergeant Franks, good to see you.
Thank you, sir. Like the sheriff said, the iWatch is a free downloadable mobile application for your smartphone. The iWatch application allows you, the citizen, to get involved with your neighborhood and your community to make it safer and more secure. You can send text messages, phone call messages, or complete tips to me. You can send these tips along with pictures and or video. You can send them any time of the day or night. I want to stress that this is not a replacement for 911 and or dispatch. If you need police service right away, please call our dispatch line or our 911 line. But if you have a crime tip, you can send it to me. Again, it allows you to feel like you're helping with the security of your neighborhood and your other citizens. I Watch Harris County is also involved in the school districts. I believe there's 25 school districts in Harris County. They all promote the I Watch Harris County application. They have posters in the schools, and they're telling their children to use the app. Very simple to do. Children may feel intimidated or embarrassed to report anything from bullying to improper conduct with somebody. They can do that anonymously, and they can do it anytime they want to. We've had quite a bit of success with the iWatch. Up to date, we have cleared 59 individual tips with arrest. We've had upwards of 70 people arrested off of those 59 tips. Most recently, since the beginning of January, we've cleared 7 tips with an arrest, which resulted in 11 people being charged and or put in jail. One of those cases involved the seizure of over $32,000 in cash and a large quantity of steroids. So the system works. I get all the tips. I will send them to the proper place. If you think something is suspicious in your neighborhood and you're not sure what to do with it, you send it to me. I'll know what to do with it, and I'll be happy to take care of it. The question that was asked of me is, I sent in an iWatch tip and I don't know the result of the tip. Well, there are 3 separate ways to send in an iWatch tip. You can leave a voice message, you can leave a text message, or you can send in a complete tip. To get a result, you need to send in a completed tip, and you need to bookmark your tip. Once your tip is bookmarked, you can search on the application for the tip status. You find the button, you push tip status, and then you can go to all of your tips that were bookmarked, and you can find out the status of that particular tip. The good thing about that is if you send in a tip and you bookmark it, and you go back to it with additional information, you can send that exact same tip with the additional information back to me, and if that tip has been suspended or is not being actively worked, the additional information may allow us to reopen that tip and to start the investigation over. I would encourage everyone to download it. It's free. Why not?
Very good. And I think we got a question regarding iWatch. What is the question? He just answered it? All right. He took care of business. He's out there iWatch in Harris County, and so should you. Thank you, Sergeant. Thank you. All righty. Next, we have Lieutenant Paul Davidson. I made a non-paid commercial for him earlier. He's the commander in charge of our recruiting office, and so he'll walk you through that particular process. Lieutenant, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sheriff.
And also, let me just say, he was also one of the guys doing a tough job within our correctional environment, and we're very grateful for him. But tell the folks about how to apply for a job with the Harris County Sheriff's
Thank you, Sheriff. I'd be honored to. It's a privilege to represent the professional men and women of the Harris County Sheriff's Office Background and Recruiting Division, and we are hiring pretty much for all ranks. You've seen some good examples here today of our detention officer ranks, as well as our patrol deputies, supervisors. We have a variety of jobs to fill and a lot of openings. Our role is one of the most important roles I feel within the Sheriff's Office, and that's to ensure that our recruiting efforts continue to meet the needs of the community. We understand how important our role is to keep our citizens safe in a variety of roles, and the many men and women assigned to my division, that's their sole responsibility. We take it very seriously. Some of our recent successes we've had to make sure we meet those needs. In the past year, just for example, we've hired 488 detention officers to join Lieutenant Anderson in her efforts. We've hired 61 communication officers to make sure that we have people there that can take the calls to respond and dispatch people like Deputy Jericho. We've hired 65 medical personnel, 16 clerical personnel, 31 professionals, that's administrative duties, legal assistance, like that, and 79 entry deputies, and those are deputies who are going to go patrol, as well as 42 lateral deputies. Those are all that are a continuing effort to make sure that we have the right people out on the streets to make sure that this community that we serve is safe. We've had a lot of recent successes, like you've seen from this video chat. There are a variety of different personnel. We come in all shapes, sizes. One thing we're very proud of, we recently added a traditional Sikh from the Sikh community, a gentleman that was very qualified, and he's presently in our communications division as a communication officer, doing very well, and he's going to soon, probably within a year, a program I'm going to talk about in a few minutes, join the ranks of Deputy Jericho as a patrolman on the streets of Harris County. Now, one of the things that's a lot of people ask, how did I get on with Harris County? Well, like the sheriff said, we're recruiting in all areas. Very easy process. We make it as simple as we can. If you have any problems with it, you can call. I'm going to steal the sheriff's line he said earlier, where he said, we have an app for that. We do. You start the process if you want to join the best, and that's what I feel we are. You go to www.hcsojobs.com. Very user-friendly process. If you don't have access to a computer, we've got a computer at our recruiting and background division. We've got personnel there that will be more than happy to assist you in filling out the application, starting the process to join the best. Again, that site is www.hcsojobs.com. The number of the recruiting division is 713-877-5250, and my number is 713-921-8891. Now, probably I wanted to save the best for last. There's an old story that occurred in a Baptist church, and the reason I'm going to say this,
I want to hear this too, by the way.
a famous gambler came in after he had a successful night at a casino and dropped several $1,000s in the offering plate. Well, some deacons said, well, you know, that's the devil's money. Well, the very wise minister said, well, that money's been in the hands of the devil long enough. It needs to be on the good side. We've actually, something I'm very excited about, is a program that we're doing in conjunction with the University of Houston downtown. The sheriff and the command staff have worked it out to use seized funds, no taxpayer expense. These are funds that were seized from illegal criminal activity. And just back to my analogy about money being in the devil's hands long enough, money that was used for bad is going to be used for good.
That's right.
We're now going to use that money in a scholarship program to fund law enforcement training. People that meet the criteria that want to be deputy sheriffs on patrol with the Harris County Sheriff's Office, we're going to use those seized funds to pay for them to become peace officers and be trained to be people, good, productive society members, and protect the people of our community. And that's something I think is a good thing. That money's been in the hands of the wrong side for too long.
Good deal.
Thank you.
In this program, for those of you who may be familiar with the ROTC program that is in most universities, where people get their education and then commit to 4 years of service to our U.S. military. By the way, hoorah to all of our military that's out there, active and retired. We love you and thank you for all you do. By the way, we're hiring veterans. We want veterans who are looking for a career and want to continue to serve the community. Call Lieutenant Davidson. We want to give you a job because of all the good that you've given us. But this program is akin to the ROTC program. In fact, I call it the SOTC, the Sheriff's Office Training Cadet Program. And this is where folks we will help them get their law enforcement license so that they can join the ranks of the Harris County Sheriff's Office and give Deputy Tyler some support. So please look into it, and we want you serving the community with this uniform. Thank you so much, Lieutenant. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All righty, and the best for last, and that is the representatives of the largest Explorers program in the state of Texas, and only the second largest in America, and that is Explorer Pablo Garcia and Mariana Brown. You guys scoot in. You scoot over a little bit. These young people could have been couch potatoes. They could have been playing video games. They could have been out there just playing at the park. But yet, look at the uniform that they're wearing. They look a lot like mine, and that's because I want them to ultimately be able to wear this uniform. If a young person, and I know that there's many young people today in middle school, in high school, that already know that they want to be a servant leader like those that you have seen before you today. They just don't know how to get there. Well, you become an explorer. You will get true training by our deputies on a weekly basis. You get to compete and show the skills that you're learning. And you do it wearing this uniform that Pablo and Mariana are wearing. Marina, I'm sorry, are wearing. And you'll get to learn that training way in advance. The nice thing about this program is, number one, they could out there be giving their parents grief or giving the community grief. Yet they're here wanting to be good public servants. And they have to play by the rules. They have to keep their grades up. They have to participate with us. But when they do those things, then they call Lieutenant Davidson and say, I want a job, and we can hire them as early as 18. And we'll start them on a true career for public safety, with public safety. And so the other thing, too, about this program is that they are peer leaders. They're sending an important message to other young people like them to be a good citizen, be a good young person, be a good leader, be a good role model. And so I'm so proud of them. And so, Pablo, good to see you, man. Thank you for being here. Lieutenant, and then Lieutenant Brown, good to see you. Tell the folks about this program and how they can join you and what's required of them.
Thank you, Sheriff. Also, good afternoon to everyone. As he just introduced us, we're both lieutenants of Post 43 Explorers Program. Many people ask, how can you join Explorers Program? Very simple enough. All you have to do is visit our website, which will be www.hcsoexplorers.com. And if you log in, you'll see many different posts, but what you'll try to do is find the one that's nearest you. You'll go visit, probably start with some paperwork, and it's kind of like a trial run to see if you like it, if it's for you, and if so, you stay, and that's how you join.
Wonderful. Pablo, any thoughts?
Yes, I want to explain to you, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. I want to explain to you what we do in our weekly meetings. We have weekly meetings. Our meetings are every Wednesday from 6 to 9, and we'll have about an hour of a PowerPoint of a class, and then the rest of the time will be hands-on training. So we train in everything. We train in traffic stops, which would be the misdemeanor stops, felony stops, domestic disturbances, crisis intervention training. Everything that a regular deputy would do, we train. So by the time we get to the academy or we're old enough to be able to go, we have that training. So it's every Wednesday is our meeting, and yeah, that's a typical meeting for us.
We have 6 posts now, right? 6 posts. Which one's the best post?
43.
Wouldn't expect anything else. But listen, I'm so proud of these guys. I really am, because we need to start people who have a true desire and a passion to do this important work, to know what the pathway is to get there. And so I'm so proud that they're giving up time that they could otherwise be using to sleep, eat junk food, or just be non-productive. But they're doing it because they want to serve you. And so we're very, very proud of them. So guys, thank you all so much. And we're here having a Google chat, and too often we take for granted that everybody's got access to the internet, but that's not necessarily the case. And so we have a caller that we're going to take on, and this beautiful young lady is hello, CJ. Hi, CJ.
Yes, hi. I'm calling regarding some information and one as a senior citizen with a disability, how to access more home security that's affordable for senior citizens, especially where there are situations whereby there's a parent entry into a residence inside, but it's not apparent of how the entry was assessed.
Well, CJ, first of all, thank you for your interest. CJ heard about our Google chat, but she did not have access to the internet. And so we didn't want to not talk to her, but rather we thought we'd think through this technology to allow her to be part of this Google chat. So CJ, thank you for being a part of this. I'm going to have Lieutenant Dean here work with you on your particular question. And Lieutenant, what can we say to CJ and others like CJ?
Thank you, CJ, for the call. Basically, we have a very active crime prevention unit that handles your concerns. You want a home security survey, just call our crime prevention number. Do you have a pen available?
Yes.
Okay, call our crime prevention unit at 713-759-9454. They'll come out and they'll inspect your home, backyard, and go over your entire home, and they'll give you a certificate if your home passes inspection. It also allows you to get a 5% discount on your insurance. Our crime prevention units deals with things such as identity theft, burglary, sexual assaults, and the whole nature. Basically, the whole focus around our crime prevention unit is to help you help yourself. And we focus on the crime triangle. In any crime, there's three major components. There's the victim, the perpetrator, and the opportunity. What we want to educate you on is how to remove the opportunity for these perpetrators out there to victimize you.
Well, and CJ, let me again thank you, and I want to thank Lieutenant Dean. He's also a recent promoting, so let's give him.
Thank you.
But let me just tell you real quickly that there are people out there that want to victimize. They want to defraud you. They are. I am so angry, and I dislike anyone who's out there trying to victimize our seniors in particular. So there's a couple of scams going on right now. There are people who are making phone calls saying that you've got a warrant by the sheriff's office and they were calling you and that you need to go online with a prepaid debit card and pay a fine. We don't do that, okay? We don't make those kind of phone calls. And if you ever want to know if we're doing something of that nature, we encourage you that before you spend your hard-earned money on some kind of, or give anybody personal details over the phone, we ask you to please call your local law enforcement agency, the sheriff's office, could be that place, and ask those questions. But there are people out there trying to take advantage of our seniors, and I hate that. And so please make sure you help me get the word out, CJ, to your neighbors and others around you, and let them know to please verify information that they may be getting with phone calls at their homes. Some people have actually said that they're me making a phone call asking people to pay a fine over the internet or to give me their personal credit card numbers and things of that nature. We don't do business that way. And so please be careful about that. And CJ, Lieutenant Dean is ready to serve you and help you with that home survey. So please make that phone call. We'll be happy to help. All righty?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. And so, folks, oh, I love you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Bye-bye.
Well, folks, our Google chat is almost there, almost up to the end. Here's an important question that we've been getting a lot of. Some of you have heard about one of our good public servants, Deputy Jason Denham, who was recently hurt in a terrible traffic accident. He had his canine partner with him, Soars, and so people continue to reach out and extend their prayers for his quick recovery, and we appreciate that. We thank you, and we ask you to continue to do so. Here's the latest that we have on Deputy Denham. he received some very, very serious injuries. He was really in the woods, and we were very concerned about him. So we're so grateful that we live in Harris County, Texas, because we have the greatest trauma surgeons, the greatest trauma facilities, in the world-renowned medical center here in our own backyard. And those folks are taking good care of Deputy Denham, and they are helping to put him back together and get him back as healthy as quickly as possible. And so his condition is stable. He has critical injuries, and every day he's taking a step towards recovery. But two things on Deputy Denham. One is that I want to thank all the people who participated in the blood drive that we did soon after his accident. It was it was undescribable to see the love and support that Deputy Denham received from citizens and his colleagues here at the Harris County Sheriff's Office, and I'm very grateful for that. The second thing is that him and his wife met when they were in the Army. They are Army brats, and so one, he comes from good stock. He was one of our nation's finest, and we are always grateful to him and other veterans like him, and his wife as well. And so I thank every one of you who have extended a prayer, a well wish, speedy recovery intention for him, and we ask you to do so, because I believe that it's all your good and positive thoughts that are helping him make a speedy recovery. So with that, I am signing off. I'm honored to be your sheriff, and I hope this Google chat was informative for you and helped to answer some questions. But the long and short of it is, folks, we work hard every day to take care of you. So, do you have another call? No, I think that's it. So we're signing off. See you at the next one.